Alright guys, I've been getting a lot of requests about 3-4 playbooks. I'm not a big fan of the 3-4 formations this year, mostly because in order to generate decent pressure, you really have to show blitz unless you're sending 6 every time. Um, there's a couple, a couple different things that you can do other than that out of the base 3-4 formations, but most of them give away where you're blitzing from. So I figured if you're dead set on running the 3-4 formations, you're gonna probably have a nickel 2-4-5 or a sub 2-3-6, something along those lines in your playbook. So I figured I could at least help you out with something. And so with this 2-4-5 formation, I actually really like it. That um, I like a lot. I love this 1-4-6 from Dallas and both of the 2-3-6 sub formations. They're all really good, and I'm gonna be putting stuff out for those in the future as well. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look at the nickel 2-4-5. And with the nickel 2-4-5, what I'm just gonna go ahead and take a look at is 4 plays. We're gonna look at sugar blitz, sugar 3 seam, sugar cover 3 bluff, and sugar 3 overload. Now, if you guys may remember, I put out the sugar scheme from Nickel Normal where we didn't have to use show blitz or anything like that. And right now I'm going to explain how we're going to do that out of the 2-4-5 formations. And basically, it's going to be similar but not exactly the same. So let's go ahead and take a look at sugar blitz first. Now, before we really get into this, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all one thing. When we base align and press, if you notice, the linebackers stack on the backs of the defensive tackles, but not quite in the gaps. So what you want to do is just move them over just a hair to get them into the gaps. And that's all you really have to do to get them there. Now, if you don't want your corners pressed up, like we are here, which from this man play isn't too bad, but what we can do is I go ahead and reset this play. Is we're just going to go ahead and already have a sugar play, one of our sugar plays in the audibles. We're going to base align and then press, and then what we're going to do is audible to one of the sugar plays. And as you can see, we're still over here where we need to be, right on the backs or in the gaps, wherever you want to say, and the corners are now backed off. So that's really good for setting up different coverages. Now let's go ahead and get into the actual setups. I'm not actually setting this up right now. I'm just going to go ahead and run a play so I can reset it. And let's go ahead and take a look at sugar blitz first. Now with sugar blitz, I normally just, since if I'm going to go ahead and run sugar blitz the man version, I'm not a big man coverage fan this year, but unless it's 2-man under, especially cover 0, I'm not a big fan of. But if I'm going to run sugar blitz, I'm sending 6. And all you're going to have to do is base align and press. You're going to globally blitz down all the linebackers by pressing right bumper and then down on the right stick. You're going to crash your line down. You're going to stack this guy here and then re-blitz this defensive tackle. And now what should end up happening, we should get pressure off of both edges, as you see right there. And once again, let's look at that one more time. Well, let's go into instant replay first. Now, as you can see, pre-snap, there's no way to tell where the pressure is coming from if I decide to send it left or right. Now, as you can see, we get steady heat off the edges. Everybody's manned up. Here's the problem with pressing from cover 0, though. If you got good beat press, and with my depth chart set up for the Patriots, there's good beat press on both sides. So, I mean, I got Gronk on the outside, so you're not going to press him. So, obviously, if you're facing a team like the Patriots or someone who has a real good press guy back there, you're going to want to back them up. And let me go ahead and show you one other way you can do that. You can go ahead and set up your play, baseline press, hot blitz all the linebackers, crash the D-line down, and re-blitz this D-tackle. Then just move guys over, whatever you want to do. Now, to back up the corners, all you're going to do is press Y, or it would be up on the D-pad if you don't use the quick links, and then you're going to press A for individual coverage. Press the receiver's icon you want. In this case, it would be Rob Gronkowski, who is X over there on the left. and then we're just going to press up on the D-pad, which is to back him off. Now, as you can see, we backed off over there, and then we could do the same thing on the right with Brandon Lloyd. And now we don't have to risk getting beat deep off the snap of the ball. And I'm going to show you one more time how quickly I can do all of that and get that set up. And I mean, that's all set up with everybody backed off. And then I'm going to either use this safety here or this guy over here covering the running back, and I'll use my guy in his zone. What you could also do is actually drop these two guys in the yellow zones, just like this, and just worry about the short middle. You could even just drop them down right here and just look for any quick tight end streaks or anything, and then just use or anything else quick and go make the tackle. Now, as far as other plays, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Sugar 3 Seam next. Now, Sugar 3 Seam, it's a little different. I'm going to go ahead, and by the way, guys, from this play, I always audible to this play. I never press up on this play. So I base the line and press, and then I always audible to it. But for the sake of this, I'm not going to sit here and audible every time I have to set it up. I just wanted to go ahead and let y'all see so that way you know that my play with my corner's back. So once we baseline and press and audible or whatever and get everybody up, all I'm going to do is move the linebackers into the gap. I want to re-blitz this linebacker, the middle linebacker I guess it would be, that I'm moving over here. And I'm just going to re-blitz him. And now I should end up with pressure off the right edge, as you can see. Pretty quick, 5-man rush. You know, it's a really easy setup and really fast. And also, there's no tell of which way it's coming. So let's look at that again. Baseline press, re-blitz this linebacker, and just stack them over, both of them into the gaps, and then we can use whoever we want, whether it be the safety or one of the slot DBs. Most times what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the slot DBs. And as I said, I usually have this play in my audibles, and I normally audible to it. I don't necessarily like my guys pressed up. Some people do, so if you do, that's your thing. Doesn't really matter. Like I said, you're going to get the pressure either way. Now, as far as if we want to use this blitz to get pressure off the left edge, what I'm going to do is baseline press, audible to it, all that good stuff. Then we're just going to globally blitz down all our linebackers. We're going to crash our D-line down. And now we're going to stack our linebackers. But this linebacker here that's blitzing, I'm going to go ahead and put him into a hook zone and stack him here. So basically we just switch which linebacker was blitzing up the middle. And we're going to get the, oh, I'm sorry, I actually skipped a step there. So we're going to baseline press, globally blitz down all the linebackers. Now, once we stack our guys, I'm going to want to put this guy into a hook. I'm going to crash the line down, and I'm going to re-blitz this D tackle on the right. And now this should get me the pressure off the left edge, as you see. So I just forgot to blitz down that D tackle. So one more time, baseline press, hot blitz all linebackers, crash the D line down, re-blitz the D tackle on the right, zone out this middle linebacker, and you were supposed to stack them both in their gaps. So that's it. And then at the snap, as you can see, we get pressure off the left edge. Now say we want it to come from both edges out of this zone play. Well, we're going to do it the same way we did Sugar. All we're going to do is baseline and press, global blitz all linebackers, crash the D-line down, re-blitz the D tackle on the right side of the screen. It's actually a defensive end, but doesn't matter. And just stack our linebackers, and that's it. And now we're going to get pressure off both sides. Now, like I said, I'm going to be audibling to this most times. I really rarely press in this game unless I'm running 2 men under. So what I like to do is, since I'm sending this off both edges, is I'll usually go ahead and put one corner or the other in a purple or a hook. It's up to you. If you put them in a hook, then this guy who's already in a hook on that same side, you're going to want to go ahead and move him over and redo his hook zone so he plays a little more towards the middle of the field. And then what I do is I either use this safety, or I'll bring him up into the box and then take control of this guy and look to cover the short middle and then drop back in case this guy over here is on a streak. But most likely, even if he is on a streak, it doesn't really matter. Not going to have time to throw that ball. As you can see, we got two guys clean off the edge, no problem. Go ahead and look at that on instant replay. Now, if you really wanted to play aggressive coverage with this, I'm going to go ahead and audible to it so you actually see how it looks. Go blitz the linebackers down, crash the D-line down, re-blitz this D-tackle, and then stack our linebackers. The blitz is set up. As you can see, our coverage is back. Now, what we can do is just put this safety in a hook. Just like that. We can leave this safety back if we want. And then put one corner in a purple. And now, what this is basically going to do, and then you could put this slot in a purple as well. So you don't have to worry about the outside over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this safety over here to the left just a little bit. And now what I'm going to have to worry about, and I'll redo his hook zone. So this left side of the field should be pretty much covered. So now what I'm going to be worried about is anything going straight down the seam like a streak. I got to make sure that nobody on the outside right is on a streak or a fade, because if they are, I'm going to have to run and get back. And then if both of those things check out, then I can play short. So this is something that's heavy on user reliant, because if they were to somehow pick this blitz up, then you might be in trouble. But you can also get results like that. As you can see, he was on a curl route, and a lot of people go to curls and quick out routes to take care of stuff, to take care of blitzes, to counter them. But look what happens. There's no way to tell that my corner's not in a deep zone or something, or playing man. So right now you would think you would be able to throw that ball. But the issue is, as soon as he stops, my guy drives on it. And if you click on, more than likely you make that catch and you go the other way. And even if that ball does go over my head, you look at my help came right here too, and Whitner would just lit him up. Now, let's look at the rest of the guys on the field. And as you can see, Welker coming on this little short route, he probably would have been open, but that would have been my responsibility, because I immediately seen that no one came over the top, and my first responsibility would have been him over those flats. I'll give up a 5-yard gain on 3rd and 15. I'm not really worried about it, guys. I mean, you know, both of these flats are going to be open, but I'm really not worried about the flats. If they're going to sit there and be that disciplined to throw to the flat every time, I'll let them do it. I mean, you're going to have to figure out some way to beat me, because you're not going to beat me just throwing to the flats repeatedly. Go ahead and keep throwing to the flats if you want. Now, there's one more play we're going to go, there's two more plays we're going to go ahead and look at. And one of those is Sugar 3 Bluff. And with Sugar 3 Bluff, what we're going to do is, this is another play I usually don't press from, but baseline press and then audible to it. And then you can stack your linebackers. Now, all I'm going to do with this is I'm going to drop, if I'm playing against a mobile quarterback, one of these two D tackles will be spied. If not, I'm either going to drop both in deep blue zones, or one in deep blue and one in a hook. Probably, most likely, I'm going to drop one in the deep blue and one in a hook. And then that's all I'm going to do to set this up. And then I'll move this safety down to a box. I might shade coverage either whatever way they've been leaning towards going more often. Or if they got like a trips look on the right or a bunch, I might shade it that way. Or something along those lines. That's about it with this play. And it's just a coverage defense. And you're going to want to use one of the linebackers. But what we see here is we get pretty great block shed on the outside right there from the only two guys we have blitzing. And now that deep blue zone that we got is going to do a pretty good job of covering the seams. He ran to the outside right because I shaded coverage that way. But as you can see, we get pretty decent block shed, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that again. Now all I'm going to do is look to user one of these guys right here. Send Hernandez up the seam. People are really liking doing stuff like this right about now, especially split formation. So, oops. So at the snap, it's my responsibility to cover the seam, drop back down. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this. And given now I am using two controllers at the same time, so, and I got a busted hand. I can barely use my left hand. I only got two fingers that work on it, so trying to do this with two hands is kind of hard. But anyway, at the snap, if you see, oh, wow, gotta love that one. As you can see, there's a red line around who I'm using, and then that D tackle was in the deep blue zone. Now, as you can see right here, this D tackle's dropping back. I followed Welker up the seam to start to make sure that we didn't get a ball thrown deep on us. And now at this point, if they throw it at this point, my underneath coverage is already recovered. So if they throw a bullet pass with an inside pass lead, I'm going to get this picked off with Alden Smith. And so now I drop straight down on Hernandez, and right about now is when they'd be throwing this ball. So I'm still close enough to where, as you can see, I can just drive on that and get a pick. And then we got on the outside, those curl to flat patterns that we have, the two purple routes, do a really good job from this play of covering curls. And on this side, as we can see, he actually ignored this flat route that's down there. He actually stayed with the curl and waited for the wheel to come upfield. And then as you can see, they pass off. So this is a really, really good coverage defense from this nickel 2-4-5. Now, of course, if you wanted to, you could still set up our same pressures from this for either left side pressure or right side pressure or both. What I recommend though is, if I'm going to leave those two purples, and then I'm just going to crash my coverage down, and I'm going to look to take away the middle of the field myself. Now, I'm not sure if that's something you're going to want to do. And as you can see, I just couldn't actually, I got under the ball. I just, with one hand, couldn't really get my hand on the Y button to make the pick. So, I mean, this is just all stuff that you can think about. Just remember, you're going to be taking away short, quick passes. And anything deep down the center with you. So the last play we're going to take a look at is going to be Sugar 3 Overload. Now this is another play that I usually audible to. So all we're going to do with this is we're going to base a line and press. We're going to crash our D-line down. We're going to re-blitz this middle linebacker. And then we're going to hot blitz the linebacker on the left side of the field. And at the snap, there's two things that could happen. Number one would be this middle linebacker shooting through. And this doesn't happen very often, but it will happen because of this guy going towards the A gap. And if they don't, and if he doesn't slide over, he's probably going to get in for an A gap sack. So, go and look at this again. Crash our line down. And I actually misspoke. You're supposed to re-blitz the D tackle on the left, not the right. I'm sorry. And then re-blitz this outside linebacker out here. And so now at the snap, what we should end up with is B gap from the left. There we go. So this is what we're actually looking for. Now, don't get me wrong now. Sometimes that middle linebacker will still come off that right edge instead of the B gap, but it doesn't really matter to me as long as it's coming. 9 times out of 10, though, you're going to get this B gap. Let me show you one more time. We're going to base a line press. We're going to crash our D-line down and re-blitz this D tackle on the right. On the left. Hot blitz the outside linebacker on the left. We got to stack our guys and re-blitz this middle linebacker. Now, at the snap, as you can see, we end up with this B gap again. Now, say you wanted outside pressure from the right and B gap from the left. What we could do is base a line and press. And we could set up, and basically we crash our line down, hot blitz this linebacker on the outside left, re-blitz the D tackle on this side. Now what we're going to want to do now is re-blitz this D tackle as well and this outside linebacker. And now we're probably going to want to put this guy in a hook or this guy in a purple, whatever. We're going to want to switch our coverage around and drop this guy into a deep zone. And then you could have left this guy in his deep zone. Doesn't really matter. But anyway, we should end up with dual pressure. And as you can see, that was B gap from the left and outside from the right. So if we want to look at that one more time, baseline press. And actually, you really don't even have to crash the D-line down for this. What you could do is just hot blitz outside linebacker, re-blitz D-tackle, re-blitz D-tackle, re-blitz linebacker, re-blitz outside linebacker. Basically, everybody has to be re-blitzed here, except for this linebacker here. So everybody along the D-line and outside linebackers has to be blitzed. So with the outside linebackers, you could just hot blitz both of those, re-blitz this guy, and then blitz both these down. Or you could global blitz all linebackers and then just go ahead and zone this guy out. And what you could do is just drop him into a deep zone, then move him over, and then put this guy into a hook. So then you got the same coverage pretty much, and then you'll end up with the B gap from the left and the outside pressure from the right. Now, that's going to be it for this time, guys. Next time I'll take a look at the sub packages from this playbook. I'm in the Dallas Cowboys playbook, but it's all pretty much with the sub 236 here. I'm gonna show some sugar stuff, but it's gonna be a little different. The alignment's different from it, so things are gonna change, and it's gonna be more situational plays. The 146 is amazing, and it almost made me switch playbooks earlier in the year. I just couldn't do it. And then this 236 will here in the Cowboys playbook, this play cover 3 CB man is an absolutely ridiculous coverage defense. I usually just press up that guy over there. I mean, and you could run it just like this, basically stock, and it's really unbelievable.